Awesome. So we're live. Let's just wait for people to start joining in. I see 5 or 6 people have joined in, but let's just let the numbers start getting up and then we can begin. All right, all right. So I see a lot of the people have joined in. Awesome. Hi everyone. Welcome to today's session. Super excited to have you all here today. Hope you're ready because we're diving into something really cool today, something really new. Your own AI agents built by your team, powered by your data. I'm your host today, Sadiq, part of the growth team here at Astera. And joining me are two people who truly live and breathe innovation. We have Jay Mishra, our Chief Technology and Product Officer here at Astera. He has helped implement AI powered solutions for numerous enterprises, including Fortune 500 companies. And we also have one of the other main brains behind the AI magic. We have Aisha Amjad, who leads our AI Solutions Initiative. She's the person you want to talk to if you ever think, hey, could AI do this for me? And spoiler alert, with Aisha, the answer is usually yes. So let's begin and let's talk about what we have planned for you all today for the next 30 minutes. So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll keep it fun, fast paced, and absolutely worth your time. I would love if it's engaging, keep those questions coming up. But yes, so first up, we'll talk a little bit about Astera, who we are, and why we think we're pretty cool. Then we'll break down what AI agents actually are without making it sound too complex. And the big moment, we'll introduce our newest brand new module, Astera AI Agent Builder. You'll also get to see an agent in action, and trust me, it will be way more exciting than it sounds. And finally, we'll open it up for the Q&A session. So keep those brilliant questions coming, and we'll get to it towards the end. So let me just start by introducing Astera and a little bit about our background. So Astera has been around since 2009, building no-code AI-powered data management solutions for enterprises. We are proud to serve 500 plus enterprise customers around the globe, including some big names on the Fortune 500 list. Our headquarters is in sunny Westlake Village, California, but our impact is global. And for more than a decade, we've been helping industries across the board turn messy, complicated data into real, tangible results. In short, when it comes to making data and AI work for businesses, we've got some serious experience in the game. Oh, and speaking of winning, before we dive deeper, let me talk about the surprise that we have planned for all of you today. We're going to be doing a lucky draw for a $50 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is fill out a quick survey. You can access it using the QR code here on the screen, and I also drop the link in the comments in just a while. So trust me, it's faster than ordering coffee at Starbucks, so no excuses, and you can get started on that right away. And all right, enough from me. Let's get to the good stuff. I'm going to hand it over to Jay Mishra, our CTO and CPO, to kick things off. So, Jay, take it away.
Thanks, Sadik. And hello, everyone. Sadik did the introduction already, but I'll just add a little bit about my background. I have been in this field of data and analytics for over 15 years now, and been building data solutions, analytics, and extension of that, machine learning and artificial intelligence. Um, so we've been building solutions. Then in our own product, we started to add AI features a few years ago. And all of that work is culminating with this effort that is Astera AI Agent Builder. We are super excited about this new functionality coming out, and we'll be seeing that in action today. So let me start with the basics. What is an AI agent, and why do you need them? So AI agents, think of it as a decision-making body that does make decisions on your behalf, intelligent decisions on your behalf based on your own data and context. Um, all of us in past couple of years, we have used conversational AI such as ChatGPT and the likes for various contexts. So we know that it can give us insight. It can actually give us guidance, and it can bring a lot of information to us if we ask the right questions. But conversational AI is limited to that. What if that wisdom can be put to action? Can it make a decision for us? Can it perform an action for us based on that insight? And that's what an AI agent is. It is think of AI agent as a virtual coworker. in different contexts. Of course, it could be performing different things, and likely you may have already encountered some kind of AI agent in real life. So, for example, if you are making a call to your insurance agency to file a claim, likely on the other side is some form of AI agent is working. Either the entire flow or a portion of it is supported by AI agent. So AI agents are typically used to automate repetitive tasks and also handle routine work for you. And they can take care of these simple tasks and sometimes complex tasks as well. And that's what we'll look at. From simple to complex, it goes, and it is typically powered by the data. So let me draw a parallel with our own decision making. As humans, when we make a decision, our decision making is better when when it's fed by quality data. So if you have data, you can make a better decision. Same way, your AI can make a better decision if it is fed the right data. So the complex AI agents can work really well if they are fed the right kind of data. And of course, they can be personalized and they can be scaled to automate large portions of your workflows and so on and so forth. So these are the AI agents. You may have already seen some in action, and we will show you one in action today using our own product. So let's talk about building AI agents and the typical challenges. So the state of the art these days is that if you are really in this field, you have been keeping up, you come from a programming background, you can write some Python code, you can piece together some tool sets and put together um, an AI agent flow, or maybe no, you can put together the entire flow end to end and you can deploy it. But it needs deep expertise in A, you need to be someone from the AI background. B, you need to be a developer. C, you need to have the cross-functional expertise where you need to know the domain as well. Typically, it's going to be a process that starts from the development, and then it comes to testing, and then you'll go into deployment, and that's where the challenge is that if you want to deploy the solution for thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, scalability becomes an issue. The whole process is going to be iterative, experimental, and at the end of it, you may end up putting together a solution that is the entire AI agentic flow. That's what the state of the art is. And we see a lot of challenges in this entire process. To address that, we started to work on it about a couple of years ago. And at this point, we already have the first cut available to our users. And this is what Astera AI Agent Builder can do for you. It is a completely drag and drop interface where you don't need to worry about going into any tooling. You don't need to worry about getting a bunch of libraries from open source and use a bunch of tools to make it work. It's just one platform, Astera, in a visual UI, in a drag and drop interface. You drag and drop your boxes and connect them, and you build the entire agent flow, where you can have multiple agents working together to do something meaningful for your organization. Our agents are going to be context aware, as in they know that for any decision making, what kind of data is needed. So, for example, if you're looking at an agent in the area of sales analytics, so they can have full access to your Salesforce.com data. They can pull in all your customers' data, and based on that, they can make decisions. So they are all context aware. Data is available to them easily, and of course, they come with all the standards that are needed to put together an AI agent or a collection of agents. That is, they come with their own state management. And also, we have added the support for MCP. This term has been in use for quite some time now. So we have full support for MCP servers from outside. We expose our own ETL engine as well as an MCP server. So a combination of those will give you access to all the data context that you need and all the actions you want to perform. So this is what we present. Basically, we have a full end-to-end graphical user interface to build your end-to-end solution for AI agents, and that is powered by your own data ecosystem. So this is something that is very close to my heart. We have been working in the field of data for a long, long time. And we know that data, quality data that is, can make all the difference in decision making. And even for agents, AI agents, that is very true. You need to ensure that the data is available and quality data is available for decision making for your AI agents. So what we do is we expose the entire data ecosystem to your AI agent that is built at the top of our platform. So they can access your data wherever it resides, whether it is in your CRM system, your ERP system, or any other application, business application that hosts your data. We can make API calls to get that data and make it part of the decision making. It could be your production databases in cloud, on-premise. It could be even a set of files. Let's say that you want to work with um, a bunch of PDF documents that host your data, and it is just sitting on your file system. It could be Excel sheets. It could be Word documents. Wherever your institutional knowledge resides, whether it is in a database or applications or files, we are able to go and fetch that information and make it part of your agentic flow. As a result, your AI agent is a truly data-driven decision making. And that's what is the promise of Astera. So today, what we are going to be doing is we are going to see a live demo of this end-to-end flow. And the use case we chose is kind of simple, but does showcase what we have to offer. So this agent or a collection of agents is going to be responsible for end-to-end interaction of a patient with, let's say, a doctor's office or the hospital system. So the agent is going to start interacting with the doctor's office, and the patient is going to be starting with information about who they are, and immediately the agent has to figure out if this is a new patient or if this is an existing patient. It can make a call to the database to check if it is an existing patient or a new patient. If it is a new patient, then it has to perform an action to create a new profile for the customer. If it is an existing patient, it goes and looks at the history of the patient, brings in to the memory, brings all that information to the context. Now it'll ask about, hey, who do you want to see? Why? What are your symptoms, and so on and so forth. Based on that, it decides that is it am I going to be booking an appointment with maybe your primary care, or is it going to be a specialist? Then comes the next part, and that is it has to make a decision about, hey, is your insurance up to date? Is it going to be covering this? How much is your copay? So for that scenario, it has to make a bunch of decisions. It has to make a call to your insurance and verify your credentials. So it will do all those things for us. And then if it says, okay, hey, no, everything is looking good, you're good to go. Here is a bunch of slots that are available for your appointment. You pick one, it goes and adds to the system on our side, and then basically sends out a notification, whether it is an email or a text message, saying that, okay, hey, your appointment is booked. So this entire flow, as you can see here, if it was done, say, a few years ago in real workflow, as a real workflow for this scheduling, it would involve multiple people. It will involve multiple phone calls, emails, and all that. None of that is needed. AI is automating the entire thing end to end for you. And of course, this is just one example of what you can do. The takeaway from this, for me at least, is that you can apply this the flow building to any use case of your choice, where you're making decisions based on the data, and data could be residing anywhere. So with that, I'll hand over to my colleague Aisha, who has prepared the demo, and she'll be walking us through the demo. Over to you, Aisha.
Thank you so much for that, Jay. So let me start by sharing my screen. And let me know when it's visible. All
Yep.
right. Okay. So it's a pretty interesting use case. And what we're building today is a smart patient scheduling agent. And the idea is fairly simple. So let's say a patient visits your website or, a hospital's portal, or they're making a call to the doctor's office, as Jay mentioned, and they need an appointment with the doctor. And maybe it's their first time, or maybe they've been here before. But basically, they're just looking for the right doctor at the right time without, waiting on holds or filling out long forms. And so what we want to do is create an AI assistant that guides them through a conversation to help them schedule that appointment. So it's just one assistant, one conversation. There's no paperwork and no missed calls, right? So what we're talking about is a patient experience upgrade, an assistant that is available 24/7. And to do that, we have a flow ready in our AI agent builder. Now, for those of you who have used Astera product before, our product has always been a simple no-code drag and drop platform. And for those of you who are new, this is what you would see in most of our other applications as well. We have a designer at the center, and then there's toolbox on the left-hand side of your screen. In the toolbox, you would find all those essential nodes, functionalities, and items that you would need to create, in this case, these kind of flexible AI agents. So for example, you have these, agent outputs and parameters, output messages, agent calls, and all these important elements and nodes that helps you create these kind of agents. We'll go into a bit more details of this when I discuss in reference to this particular use case on smart patient scheduling. But we'll discuss each of these nodes in much detail. So what you see on your screen is the main agent, the main smart patient scheduling agent. And within this agent, we have what we call sub agents or agent calls, basically. So you have this first agent in which the agent is simply having this conversation with the user or with the patient, in which they are trying to get what ailments they have, what symptoms they have, if this is a checkup, if this is a follow up. And once they have that kind of information, they then go and try to match their ailments with the best available doctor. And this is done via, they have of course a database of the doctors, and they're trying to look up for an appropriate doctor that matches with the kind of symptoms that the patient has defined. Then after getting that, they also need information from the patient. That information, if it's a new patient specifically, they would need about, like, their name, their date of birth, any additional, their insurance, any information on that too. And then pass it on to this next agent, which is the insurance information. So if they're an existing patient or if they're a new patient, the idea is that we would like to know how much copay they have to do when they are scheduling this appointment, right? So that entire thing is taken care of by another agent, which is used as a sub agent in this particular main agent. And then finally, an appointment is scheduled, in which case the agent asks about, what slots suits them, so things like that. And then finally it sends you an email, right? An email to the patient as well as an email to the doctor. So let's take a deep dive into, for example, the first agent, which is initial user input agent. So in this agent, what you see here is that what essentially happens is, when patient comes, he starts discussing or having a conversation with the AI agent. The AI agent is supposed to check whether it's a follow-up or it's a checkup. And with respect to that, what it does is it routes the conversation in the appropriate direction, right? So you could have multiple scenarios where you want to schedule a checkup and you are open to discussing your symptoms with the AI agent, or you just want to have a checkup and would rather discuss your symptoms with the doctor. Same goes for, hey, I want to have a follow up and here are my symptoms, and so on and so forth. So with all these different variations or patterns that you can have in your conversation, depending on that, the central piece that's actually driving this entire agent is the router node here, right? That's making all of these decisions based on however the conversation history and conversation flow is. And after that, another important item here is this update state option. So when Jay mentioned that, throughout this throughout this course of conversation that the patient is having with this AI assistant, we need to maintain certain information, pass that information, which is called context basically, and pass that context from one agent to the next agent. So for example, this is just the first agent that's having the initial conversation with the patient. Now the information that, hey, this is a checkup and these are my symptoms, needs to be passed to the next agent, in which we're going to match those symptoms with the doctors. Similarly, the checkup needs to be matched to maybe later on, hey, or with the follow up, for example, needs to be matched later on when we're having that, when we're scheduling the appointment, because we would like to add this kind of information in the email for the doctor as well as for the patient. So there is some information that needs to be passed around through every sub agent, and that is what is maintained by state. So, and you see some other options here as well, like for example or and other options that are essential to having this flexible agent. Then another agent, for example the appointment scheduling agent, works in a very similar fashion. Now, and in this agent, the central piece is the switch option or the switch node. Now again, very simple. All it's doing is that it's getting some slots from the users. For example, hey, it's getting some slots from the doctors, their available slots, and then after that it is suggesting those slots to the patient. If the patient confirms those slots, excellent, it is going to schedule this email. But if the patient rejects those slots for whatever number of reasons, then in that case it will go to this no route, and then it will maybe go for suggesting new slots maybe from the next week or week after for the doctor, and so on and so forth. So again, this entire conversation, the main central piece here is this switch option that is driving this entire flow of the conversation with loops in between. Now, going back to our main patient smart patient scheduling agent flow. So all of these, as I mentioned, are sub agents, and like I've discussed these other two, the rest of the agents works in pretty much the same fashion. So on your right hand side of the screens, you can see that the agent has already started when we were discussing this. So it says, hey, welcome to Aster Healthcare, how may I assist you today? So let's say I start my conversation by saying, I want to schedule an appointment with a doctor, right? And it takes some time and answers definitely. May I ask if this is a checkup or a follow-up? So this is a checkup. Okay, I see you would like to schedule a checkup. Could you please describe your symptoms so I can match you with the appropriate? Okay, so let's say I have symptoms like, let's say, headache and some mild fever and nausea as well, let's say. Yeah, so pretty straightforward. Now it takes some time to go into the database and do a matchup. So, okay, thanks for sharing. Based on your symptoms, I recommend a consultation with one of our general physicians, which makes sense, right? These are pretty general symptoms. It's not like I've asked for any doctor with particular specializations. So these are the available doctors. Please let me know which doctor you would like. Okay, so I would like to have an appointment with Dr. James. All right. So next is, okay, are you a new patient or an existing? Okay, well, I'm an existing one. So existing, and let's say my patient or my ID is 0388. Okay, now it's going to again go and check up in its database, which is, okay, so thank you. To confirm, is your name Aisha? Yes. Okay, so it technically pulled off the rest of the information as well, but it's just taking its time to give the information to the user in in bite size. So is this the correct insurance? Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, so again, it's bringing me some information in which it says, according to your provider and plan, I see that you have to copay $40 for this visit. All right, so that means insurance covers $60. Does that work for you, Miss Aisha? So another important point here is that along with the in conversation when initially asked me, hey, is your name Aisha Amjad? I said yes. Now this is an information that is retained by the system, and hence it is going to use that over and over again in addressing me as the patient by my name, as well as when later on it schedules an appointment. So does that work for you? It does. Okay, all right. So it took some time to give me some available slots for Dr. James, which I selected previously. So let's say, okay, so maybe, 12 p.m. Pacific, Wednesday works for me. Okay, I'm scheduling your appointment with Dr. James Warren for Wednesday, April 30th. You will receive a confirmation email. Let's quickly check the email. Okay, all right. So this is the email that I've just received. So appointment has been scheduled. Checkup with Dr. James. This is the general physician. Please arrive 15 minutes. Okay, thank you, Estera Healthcare. All right, so it has just arrived in the mailbox. Okay, perfect. So like these kind of agents, you can build. Of course, this is one mode of conversation. In which case, for example, you can simply have it integrated with your website, with your portal, as a chatting option, as a chatbot. Another way of communication with the agent is that you can just simply have a voice assistant in place, and hence this entire conversation can move from the chatting to actually having this an on-call conversation. So that's the entire idea behind this agent. And again, this is, as Jay mentioned, a relatively simple but very, very powerful use case. And like how you can create this use case, there are of course ways of creating all the different kinds of use case, like sales agent, customer support agents, and so on and so forth. So with that, I'll conclude the demonstration. Thank you. Over to you, Sadik.
Awesome demonstration, Aisha, and it was amazing. And I hope you all found it interesting and useful as well. And we'll start to move forward from here towards the end of the webinar. Of course, we'll be jumping to the Q&A. But before that, just to recap everything we discussed today, we walked through how Astera AI Agent Builder empowers you to create custom agents without the need for any heavy technical lift, and also how it helps you operationalize your own data for real-time insights and actions. Now, before we close out, we'd love to hear from all of you. If you have any questions about features, about how AI agents could fit into your business, or even just a thought you're curious about, now's the perfect time to ask. And while you're doing that, up on the screen, you'll see some of our accolades and a few of the incredible companies that we work with. This journey has been about constantly refining our solutions. And today, with AI Agent Builder, we're making it even easier for teams like yours to unlock real power from your own data. So if you have any questions, big or small, now's the time. And with that, you'll also see a QR code on the screen. Feel free to scan it. It will take you directly to our contact us page where you can book a quick consultation session with us. I'll also drop the link in the comments. We'd love to hear more about your use case and help you figure out exactly how we can support your AI journey. And while the questions are coming in, let's get to the fun part, which is announcing our lucky draw winner. So let me just quickly check. It's Daniel Fallon and Zach Helbert, our winners today. So we have two winners today since we've got a new module. So we have two winners today. Congratulations, guys. And we'll be sending you an email shortly with all the details. And with that, I'll start with the questions as they came. And Aisha and Jay, please go ahead and one of you can pick up the questions and start answering. So let's start with Jeff, who sent the first question. Explain how our data is protected from being used for training or storage in Astera's cloud.
Happy to take this one. So we are a platform provider. We are a tool provider. We are not in the business of storing your data. So think of it, this is a tool set given to you. You put together your own solution, and then you decide what you want to do with your data. And naturally, of course, this your own data. Do you want to make it part of a training or not? It's your choice. So there are ways to do that. The one is that, of course, if you're not okay with sharing your data for any further training with the let's say OpenAI models, we are agnostic to that. You can choose the model that you want to choose. You can have your own hosted model that you want to use. We are flexible with that. So we provide connectivity, let's put it that way, to all the large language models, and you can pick and choose which one makes more sense to you. Now, fine tuning, if you're looking at that, fine tuning can be done, of course, with your own data and hosted by you so that it stays only with your company. It doesn't go outside. So this is a choice you make, and we can support that with the technology.
Awesome. And the next question that we had was from Muhammad Durrani. Do we need to convert the database in vector DB for agent to consume or pass him raw data?
Great question. This is something. This is where our product shines. You don't need to do anything. We can just go to wherever your data is, and we can fetch your data. And since it is a platform that is built at the top of this whole data pipeline builder, the ETL product that is, it is able to take your data from your database. And if you need to use, let's say that your solution design or architecture requires a RAG implementation, and that needs the data to go inside vector DB, that becomes part of the pipeline. So you don't need to do anything. It will automatically take your data from the source, move it to a vector DB, and from there it will apply the match and get the top and results and use that for the RAG implementation. So that is all under your control. You choose how you want to use it.
Awesome. And we have another question from Ryan this time. Some of our data is still in Microsoft Access. Can the agent retrieve data from that?
Absolutely. So we have over, I think, a good 45 to 50 built-in connectors to, and now they can be called legacy systems, but going all the way to even IBM databases, mainframe, wherever your data resides, including Microsoft Access and everything in between. We have connectors that are built in. You drag and drop, you point to your source, and it will fetch the data into the system, and then that becomes part of the pipeline that can be used moving forward in your flow.
All right. And we have another question from Muhammad Durrani. So agent will be making voice call. How will it handle pauses, hold on, timer, etc. if far end is actual human? Actual human.
May I
Yes,
take
please.
this
Yeah,
one?
I was going to pass it on
Yeah.
to you, Asha. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So so first of all, in the agent there is a concept of, hey, there's going to be an output message from the LLM, let's say, and there's going to be an input message. That means we wait for the input message, right? What we can do, we also have the ability to add a timer in between, which means that, hey, wait for the user, for the patient in this case, to respond. If they don't respond, and let's say after 15 seconds, 20 seconds, pose the question again, right? And maybe in a better manner. So these kind of tweaks, these kind of flexibility, when I mentioned that, hey, in the toolbox you have all these kind of items that you can add to ensure this flexibility, that is something that can be part of it, or that can be handled by the flow in real time right now as well, right? So yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Awesome, Aisha. So we have another question from JJ. So we get full flexibility of designing and deploying our agents. For instance, I want to create an agent that can help with market research. Can I do that? Marketing research, to be specific.
Asha, you want to take this one too?
Yeah, sure. Yes, definitely. So the idea is that it's not, we, of course, we will also give certain templates, right? Certain built-in templates as reference for any new user that's coming in and trying out our AI agent builder. So there will be reference templates that you can take reference from, but all the items within the flow, they're completely flexible. It really depends on what kind of agent, what kind of use case you want to try out. And as Jay mentioned that, one of our strengths has always been integrating with data. We have been in this for more than a decade now, and that is something particularly that we are experts in, right? So with market research, for example, if you would like to connect to some web searches, some web crawlers, if there's any specific database that you think, hey, this is where my main market research comes from. For example, that usually happens when we are talking about scientific research papers. They usually have a repository, right? So very similar manner, you can also connect to those repositories, to those databases via APIs, for example, and then create your entire, let's say in your case, a market search agent around it. So yeah.
Awesome. And we have a question from Tausif Chaudhary, a couple of questions actually, and they're connected. So, what is the actual input? Is it the customer actually speaking on the phone? Does this example assume the existence of an AI based phone system? Or is it a customer hitting buttons on a call, dial one for new appointment, two for prescriptions, and the like?
Okay, so in this particular use case, we're basically just having that conversation. The agent itself knows that, hey, I am an AI assistant for a smart, I'm a smart um, appointment scheduling assistant, basically. So it has that awareness. That's what we call context awareness, right? And LLMs are excellent at that. When you give it certain persona, when you give it a certain task, and you assign it a role, they're excellent at doing that job. So that's essentially what we do. So it knows that, hey, I am someone who is going to have a discussion or a call with a patient, and then I'll take certain information from that patient that will help me schedule their appointment with an appropriate doctor. So it is aware of that. Yeah, when we talk about, hey, if it's, you can dial 1, dial 2, dial 3, it really depends on the kind of deployment module we follow, right? The kind of deployment module the actual developer follows. So whoever is building these AI agents can decide that, hey, I want to have this kind of functionality in place. But essentially what we are giving you is the ability to have that AI agent in place. And so yeah, go ahead and make it say, hey, dial 1, dial 2, dial 3, or hold on and dial these numbers. So anything of that sort is possible.
And I see more questions are coming in, so please keep them coming. And we have another question from Ryan. Can any of your agents edit PDFs or Excel documents? If yes, can they edit them in real time, or will it make edits based on directions and provide an edited version?
So when it comes to editing, editing is basically a little different or a bit challenging than just reading. Reading part is basically just go and we can fetch data from wherever you want. Um, to build any document, whether it is a simple Word document or a PDF document, the writers are involved, and we can support those. And that is going to be a little bit more involved implementation because it is not a regular, I would say, data connector. It's an action that need to be performed, and there are APIs available to do that. So we can definitely support that. But it is going to be an implementation using our toolset and some APIs.
Awesome, Jay. And Jeff, who asked the first question, has a follow up to it. So, if we use the Astera Cloud LLM models, how do the charges work for that?
Okay, so I think it will help if we let me actually take a step back and talk about the way our solution is structured, and that will help understand how we fit in the whole solution building. So ours is basically a platform that gives you the tool set to put together the solution and actually implement and test and run it. But it is not tied to a specific LLM, or it is not tied to a specific model and all that. Um, Depending on the flow you build. And let's say the example that we saw in the demo. In multiple steps, we were making calls to an LLM. Now that step, if in my UI, if I go in there, go to the property of that step of making a call to LLM, this is where I can configure which LLM I'm making a call to. So I can choose that, okay, hey, use 4.0 model from OpenAI, or Claude Sonnet from Anthropic, or whatever model you want to choose. You can choose, and then it'll ask you about your credentials. So you are picking and choosing your own model, and of course, if you have an account, it's going to be charged to that account. So that's how basically this system works. So we are agnostic to which LLM you're calling. It is basically available as a tool set. And now you configure with your own credentials and whatever charges you are incurring, it'll be going directly from your account.
Awesome, Jay. And just to add to that, Jeff, I think the contact us form would be a great place to kind of list down more details about the use case for, of course, for us to understand it and then be able to give you more of an idea on the charges part. But moving on, we have another question here from Zach. Can I customize this to my business? I work in the retail industry.
Absolutely. This is the beauty of a platform. The way I was describing the platform is, think of it as like a tool set given to you, and you can use the same tool set to build different kind of things. So this solution can be applied to any use case as long as the core components, or the basics remain the same. So if you are trying to build a solution, and the solution is all internal, for example, to within it, it is not user facing, it is not facing outside to public. It is your all internal users. You can put together a solution where it makes decisions in your workflow. So imagine a large workflow that you put together for processing, or for whatever requirement you have. And in the workflow, each of the nodes, and I'm drawing a parallel with, let's say, a flow chart. So when you build a flow chart, each of these nodes, you have a decision node, right? So imagine that these nodes are like decision node powered by AI. So it can make a decision like a human makes a decision. So you can build the entire flow, very, very complex flow for internal use, where each of the nodes are powered by AI, and AI is making decisions live on your behalf. And of course, you can have the guardrails and all that in place so that it doesn't cause any issues, because the AI, of course, is making decisions that can actually impact processes down the stream. So you can put checks and balances. You can put some other items next to it that will verify that, okay, hey, this is the decision made by AI. Do I need a verification? Do I need approval? So you can add all of that. So the point is that think of AI as basically another colleague who can make decisions for you, who's sitting live there, making doing all the work. But if your workflow requires to verify the decision made by AI, you can do that too. So that's what the beauty of our platform is, that you can build the entire solution end to end, and you can pick and choose where to use AI, in what form. If you want to add verifications of the decisions made by AI, you can do that too.
Awesome. And Prasanna has a question related to the demo. Aisha, maybe you could answer this. Why would you ask the patient if he is a new or existing? If you already have the patient in your database, you're going to flag it as existing, isn't it? So Aisha, I think you can clear that up.
Yeah, okay. So the idea behind asking the patient that whether they're new or existing is simply because to get that we need some kind of a key, right? And rather than unless we don't have that, so every database has some kind of unique keys. So in our case, that was patient ID. So unless we don't have that, it is difficult to really look it up in the database itself. So the idea behind asking that, hey, are you new? If new, then the conversation will be routed to a different direction where we'll ask a few additional questions, additional information from the patient, like, hey, your name, your date of birth, and so on and so forth. So all the different information that we need from the patient, so that we can send that as report to the doctor, right? If they're an existing patient, we really don't need to ask them much. Of course, if there is an update in the information, we can just have it verify that, hey, this is the information we have in our database. Has any of that information changed over time? But yeah, that's pretty much the reason why we asked whether you're new and existing, because both have two different routes of conversation. The LLM then decides, oh, it's a new patient, I need to go on this route, or hey, it's an existing, I need to go on the other route. So that was the entire reason.
So if I may add to that, Aisha, this is how it was designed. So as I said, this is a very specific use case we took,
Yep.
and someone put together a solution that, okay, hey, here's what we want to show. But the design, of course, can change depending on your needs. Let's say that your requirement is that, okay, hey, we don't want to ask, we just ask, and we do the lookup and we figure it out. Sure, there'll be additional step in our flow we can add. That, okay, hey, the first step is that we take maybe we just ask for the name, and we use a name to do the lookup, disambiguate, and see that if there's a clear match, then you can assume it's a patient already in our system. So we can do that, but again, as you can see here, this is my design decision that if I'm comfortable with that, okay, I just take the name and decide all of that, sure, it'll work. But if I want to be more sure, I want to use a router, that, okay, hey, I'm going to ask first, then verify. So as you can see here, this is you can use it in multiple ways, and it just depends on your comfort level with the AI decision making, and depending on that, you can change your flows as well. And all those tools are basically the items in your flow. They are available in the toolbox. You drag and drop and add it at any point, and it'll do the work for you. So if I were to change this solution based on your suggestion, of course, I can add one step before that, and that step will try to guess if this patient is my existing patient or a new patient.
Absolutely. And I think that answers the next question as well from Mohammed Durrani, which was about patient ID. So a lot of people don't know patient ID. So, of course, I think, Jay, you answered that already, that it can be customized according to that person's need, right?
Yep. Yep. So keep in mind, this is a very simple solution that we tried to build. Didn't want to go into too much of details, as in if we make it too complex, it is not going to fit in the it is not going to be a good fit for a webinar. So we wanted to keep it simple, and that's how we went about it. But yes, it can be customized to any requirements that you have.
Awesome. And then now we have some questions from Samapt Kumar. Do you have standard slash common templates? How about the governance? Can we build and run locally?
I'm not sure if I followed the entire question. So, okay,
So,
do you mind?
so it's a bunch of questions. So yes, we can take it step by step. So
Yeah.
first he asked, do you have standard or common templates? So I think he's talking about the templates that Aisha mentioned, right?
Mm. Aisha, do you mind taking this one?
Yeah. So there are some built-in templates, some sample templates as reference. For example, you see smart patient scheduling one. There's related to sales agent. Then there's other for traveling agent, customer support. So there are a few agents like this. There's also one related to workflow automation. So we have entire list of agents. I'm pretty sure there's also documentation around different kinds of agents. So we have like around 7 or 8 categories. There are co-pilots in it as well. That hey, if you're building a code generation agent, how do you go about it? So we've also added a sample, a reference AI flow for that too. So yes, a few examples and templates are part of the product.
Awesome. And then his next question was about how about the governance and can they build and run locally?
Yes. The answer is yes. The solution basically can reside fully as a SaaS solution, or it can be your own. And going back to what I was talking about earlier, it's a platform that you license, and after that, you build your own solution. You choose your own large language model provider, or if you want to use something local, you can take a Llama model or whatever open source model that you want to use, and you can have it on your own machines. It doesn't the data does not need to leave your ecosystem. So you can basically create a system that is completely closed system from outside, and that is definitely doable using our product.
Awesome. And the next question we have is again from Tosif. So how does this particular agent identify specialist recommendations based on symptoms? What is the technology underlying it? Is there some generic LLM behind this making the determination?
So again, great question, and this is again very configurable. So if you talk about this specific solution that we showed to you, in this one we are making a call to a generic LLM, just saying that, okay, hey, here are my symptoms, and go ahead and figure out what exactly it is. And then we have a combination as well. So keep in mind that sometimes making a lookup with your existing database, that is also going to be a part of your flow. So we have done a combination of LLM and a lookup to existing database, and that was sufficient to handle this use case. But let's say that you want to have another machine learning model that becomes part of it. Sure, you can do that too. So it just depends on your comfort level, and with what, and from your complexity of the solution perspective, to what extent you want to go, what you're comfortable using, whether you want to use a simple rule-based solution. That is also a possibility, where you can write rules and say that, okay, hey, if A happens, you do B. If C happens, you do D. You can do all of that. Second is, of course, you can use generic LLMs, and third is you can have your own customized models as well.
Awesome, awesome. And then we have a question from Samapt again. So he's talking about if the builder is free or is there free training available on the AI agent builder?
So we are just in the process of launching the product. This is, in fact, the first public demo of the product. And we will come up with different ways to learn the product. And we do have quite a bit of content available already on our self-learning platform. So we will, I'm sure that it is not complete, but we will keep adding to that. And our self-learning platform will have information about how to use our AI agent builder. In the meantime, of course, you can read our documentation, get in touch with our team. We'll be more than happy to do a demo for you, a customized demo for your team.
Absolutely. And Prasanna asks, what level of complexity can the agent handle in data transformation?
Great question. This is something that is, we believe that is the key differentiator. Apart from, of course, giving you all the usability, that you don't have to use LangChain and the likes and coding and all that. You don't have to do that. So we give you a drag and drop interface. That is one, of course, the huge benefit. And the second biggest benefit, I would say, is that access to our data integration platform. This one comes with over 500 built-in transformations and has been in production for over 14 years and is being used by a bunch of Fortune 500 companies for their ETL work. So it can basically transform any type of data to any type of data, applying any type of transformation. It has very, very deep features for data transformation and data quality. And those are all available to our AI agent builders.
Awesome. And Ryan has a question. So, are you able to accept data from streaming sources, say, for example, Kafka or Cribble, for an agent to then act on?
Of course. So we do have APIs to consume those streaming data, and that streaming data can be now become part of the context, the data context that is for the agents, and then it can be used in the AI agent flow.
Awesome. And we have a question from Jeff again. So, I think we already did that question. So, he's asked that twice. Prasanna asks, do you guys help us with implementations as well?
We do. So we are primarily a product company, but our model is that for whenever we get into any partnership with our customers, we work with our customers closely to help them put together the first cut, sometimes even for a longer time. And our engineering team will be helping you either build a solution on our side and transfer to you, or we can work with your team in collaboration.
Awesome. And Ryan shared some more information on his needs. So he's saying that our need is internal. We have sales contractors who need data from our database in certain formats. Sometimes that's marketing materials, Excel tables, etc. How does this react to researching internal data and returning information? Can that be over the phone and emailed to a sales associate?
That's interesting use case. So when it comes to looking at the data and making sense of it, using agents that can be put together pretty easily, I would say, with our capabilities in the whole data pipeline building and ability to go and fetch data from anywhere, transform it. So, for example, if you want to fetch data from your Salesforce.com and let's say HubSpot, and you want to bring in data, and then you want to do a join on two data sets, and take the combined data set, apply some filtering, and then based on the access you want to give the data to your user, that can be implemented very easily using our platform. Now it
And
comes to the delivery part. Yeah. So yeah,
yes,
Shakti, sorry, you were saying something.
yeah, I was just talking about that, for this particular use case, I think when you discussed about MCPs are going to be very powerful about this, right? Because that's exactly what MCPs are supposed to do. They have these tools, and that the tool simply means that, hey, I can fetch this data. This is the way to fetch it. This is the way to deliver it. This is how you'll get Excel files, and so on and so forth. So you kind of give these MCPs to the LLMs, and then based on the conversation that's happening, the LLMs can trigger these MCPs. You can also put an approval process in between where sensitive data is involved, right? That, hey, unless you get an approval from a human or someone, an administrator, do not trigger this process. So that's the idea behind MCPs, and MCPs are going to be very powerful for that. Yeah, please, Jay, continue.
No, thank you. That I think that goes deep into how you can fetch data and build a flow. But the delivery part, when you're talking about the voice integration, like how you want to deliver the data or information to your users, Voice again is another layer that sits at the top of this solution, and we can work with some integration APIs and provide that voice interface as well to the users.
Awesome. So Muhammad has a question. How will it be exposed to customers, UI, etc., can also be supported as part of the platform, or will there be need of custom development required on top of it?
Great question. So this is what you saw again is a chat bot based interface where, of course, it is the bunch of agents working behind the scene, but the interaction with the user is just using a chat bot. And you take this chatbot, and if you want to use the same interface and give it to your users, that is one way, and we can work with that. We can help you implement this in your own portal, in your own internal portals, or public-facing portals. That can be done. I was talking about just before this question about a voice interface. Voice interface is nothing but sitting at the top of the text. It can be done as well. So these are the ways you can interact with the user. And keep in mind that sometimes this AI agents, they don't need to have a chat with someone. They can sit in the background and make decisions for you. So it can be a collection of agents sitting inside your data ecosystem. And depending on some events happening, they are doing something internally and notifying you. So for example, they are watching your activity on your e-commerce site and looking at the traffic. They can make a decision that, okay, hey, it looks like this item is going to be out of stock soon, and they integrate with the supply chain and go through the approval process and order more of that item. So now in this scenario, your agents are not interfacing with any user. They are internally working and making decisions and performing actions. So AI agents can come in different flavors, sometimes customer facing, sometimes not facing the customer. And we support all three modes.
Awesome, awesome. And I think we have the last couple of questions now. Tausif asks, how does the platform connect to or utilize the LLMs? Does the platform actually send my data out to the LLM provider in order to have that LLM give back information? Does that expose my information to the external LLM provider?
This again, I cannot emphasize enough on the answers about us being agnostic to the LLM model. So we are not tied to one specific LLM model. For sure, in this demo that we showed to you, this one was likely making calls to the API-based LLM, such as OpenAI and Anthropic and so on and so forth. But this is your choice. If you choose to use an LLM that is specific to your organization, it is hosted by you or hosted in cloud, wherever it is, you can choose the LLM of your choice and your solution will work as is. So the point is that you can take exactly the demo that we showed earlier today and use this demo with OpenAI, use it with Anthropic, or you can use it with Llama version, or you can use it with anything that is DeepSeek, whatever you choose. So it's your call. And if you are sensitive to information not being shared, what you do is you use the LLM, an LLM that is more conducive to that requirement, where you are more comfortable sharing data with that LLM, whether it is a cloud hosted or it is going to be maybe no, or just hosted for your own organization or just privately on your data centers.
Awesome. And the last question of the day, Jay and Aisha, can it read handwritten documents that has been scanned?
Aisha, this is your favorite question, so I'll
Yeah.
pass it on to you.
I mean, this functionality has been around for such a long time, right? I mean, Stera is known for one of our prime products is our data extraction, unstructured data extraction module, right? And this is one of the most popular use cases where we get scanned documents and we need to read data out of those scanned documents. Of course, we need to convert it to text first and then extract the data. So, of course, these functionality, in addition to the data transformation functionality, the reading, connecting to several different databases, like over 50 different databases, that functionality has been part of our product for more than a decade now. So yes, that's there, that's part of the flow, and the entire idea is that now we add AI on top of this. So you already had an excellent integration product that helped you connect to various sources, but now with AI you can basically leverage those integrations and your sources to create AI agents. So that's the entire idea. So yes, the answer is that definitely we can read the data from it.
Awesome. And Mohammed, I did see your message on the demo account, so you can definitely reach out to us and we can figure something out. And thank you everyone for joining in and staying with us for the better part of an hour on your Tuesday morning. It was great to have you all. It was great to have you guys, Jay and Aisha. I think it was wonderful, and we really touched upon some great things today. So thank you everyone for your time, and until next time, that's Sadiq from Astera.
Thank you, everyone.